Hello everyone, Michelle here from the Creative Cove. Thanks for joining me today. Today I am doing a review on the Paul Rubens paint, watercolor paint. Now I filmed this whole thing, and for some reason it was in slow motion, so I have to refilm. So I apologize for that, but I have opened up the watercolors. They came beautifully packaged with this really cute little swatch, or I don't know what this is, some sort of pretty fabric. These are the paints themselves. So they came in the tin like this, in the little box with the velvety cover, and then of course it has the legends here of the colors that you have included in the box. And it's a really cute little package. So I do apologize, I've already opened them. They came with the little label covers that are numbered in the with the color pans. So let me snap this guy back in with the colored pans, and I tore all those off because that's what you do when you get them. And then I started coloring and painting this little tree frog and realized I botched it all up and I have hit the wrong button. So let's do something else. All right, let me get my act together here. Got to tidy up a few things. Okay, so I'm just going to paint a lighthouse. I love lighthouses. I think they're really fun to draw and paint. So I'm just going to sketch one out here. And I don't know if anybody lives out east in Canada, but they have some fabulous lighthouses out there. I love heading out east and checking out Peggy's Cove and all those beautiful scenic walks. I highly recommend it if you've never been out west or out east, or have never been to Canada. Definitely check out the lighthouse tours they have on the East Coast, all through New Brunswick and Nova Scotia, PEI, all of them. They've got some beauties out there. And they're all these kind of little, tiny little red and white guys. I really love them. So I am just going to sketch something out of my head. So it's probably not going to be all that accurate, but it's going to imply lighthouse. That's my goal. So I really enjoy visiting out east, and every time I go, which isn't very often anymore. My parents had retired out west, so we tended to head out west more. But there's just something so nostalgic about a lighthouse. I love it. So I'm going to try and capture that lighthouse vibe. So I am drawing very light, so you might not be able to see it all that well. And that's because I'm using watercolor and I don't want too much pencil to show through. I don't mind the pencil look because most of my watercolors I tend to use a pen after anyways, because I like that sketchy loose look. I might even go a little crazy on the sketching with this after, just for fun. I don't know. We'll see where it takes us. And we'll do one more window down here. And then maybe some rock. Just for fun, and then maybe water in the distance. A little formation of rock over here. So that's what lighthouses are for. To warn you about the rocks. Okay, so simple sketch, nothing too elaborate. Let's have fun with some watercolor. So here are the watercolors, and let me just double check that I've got even frame, which I do, and hopefully I'm not in slow motion. I have no idea what I did, but it wouldn't be the first time I've hit the slow motion button. So I'm just going to play with some blues, see what colors we get. I'm not going to get into the kind of blues I'm using. I'm just going to throw the paint on. And I'm using a number 8 brush. I'm also, by the way, using hot pressed paper. And I've gotten into the hot press because I'm really loving sketching with water, what's it called after? I can't think and paint today. Pencil crayon. I've been really getting into that. Really enjoying throwing some pencil crayon over top, and I'm going to do a video on that. I did record a couple of videos. They're not the best, so I might just record again. It's difficult to record a video and talk and explain things all at the same time when you're trying to concentrate on real serious details. At least I think it is. So you can see lots of water here, very loose, just playing. You can throw in some ominous green for some stormy vibe, grays, whatever you want. You can keep it bright and sunny. I don't go into too serious a detail when I'm watercoloring. I like to keep it light. You can use some paper towel and remove some paint. Just have fun. I think I will go a little bit more mystical with my color here. You can throw some splotches in there. Just have fun with it. Watercolor's about experiments and playing, not being too serious. Cloud formations, skies are really fun to experiment with watercolor because of the natural way the paint dries and how much water you use and your color mixture choices. So if you're new to watercolor, just try painting some skies. Give yourself like a thumbnail with some I don't know what that is. That's a piece of paint with some tape, and just have some fun playing with skies. Get a couple of reference photos, try to mimic some, and then others just let her go and have some fun. That would be a suggestion on introduction to watercolor. Okay, a little bit more saturation of blue over on this side. So again, very loose approach here. Lots of fun. Okay, so we're going to wait for that sky to dry. I don't want to start mixing my red and whites in there yet because the blue will bleed. So let's maybe go into some water. So we use the same color here for the water, which comes to about here. This time I'm going to go very horizontal. And you can see you can play with a few techniques of watercolor. You can play with dry brush, wet on wet, wet on dry, all kinds of fun stuff. So far these paints are really quite pretty. I like the saturation, I like the pigmentation. Now whether or not these, I'm just gonna turn this a little bit, sorry, it's a bit easier on my wrist to paint. I can't speak to the longevity of the paint, if it's fade resistant or not. That's something I can't review because that just takes time. Okay, let's go into something. Let's see what other blues we got here. Maybe some green. And you can see I'm just playing. I just grab whatever color. I think I'm going to go a little bit drier. Throw some green in my paint here. Go into a little bit of gray. While it's wet, just let it do its thing. Kind of rough seas today. You can really play with the atmosphere of a painting when it comes to how windy and the colors you use. Is it a calm day at sea, a windy day, a stormy day, all kinds of fun things. When I teach my paint nights, I really enjoy that because people can be painting all the same picture and they all turn out different because people paint kind of in a mood, you know, they have their very busy strokes, so they have a very busy, moody painting, and then there's some people who paint very calmly and surreal and just take their time, and they get a very different look and a very different feel to their painting. So it's always fun to see what moods people are in. I'm just going to throw this kind of pretty brown back here. Some land mass back here, a couple of rocks protruding out of the ocean. Again, just keeping it loose. I'm not a landscape painter. I'm not even a watercolor artist. I do like to play. Just putting some of that color in the water. I think we'll intensify that in a minute. So let's go with something a little darker, maybe throw some green in it. Throw a little orange in there for fun, see what we get. I just like to play mixing these colors. I think it's so much fun. So maybe a couple of rock ledges here. It's pretty rocky. Again, you can remove some if you don't love it. I'm just going to use this brush. I probably should switch to a smaller one. I feel like my horizon line isn't all that straight. Okay, let's go to a little bit of a smaller brush here. What have I got? A number 7. So I think my sky is dry. Let's play with red. I'm just going to throw the red down here. I got shaky hands today. Too much coffee, maybe. I'm just going to blend this because I want that a little bit lighter. Throw the red down past the windows. So if you want something very structured and neat and tidy, take your time, wait for the colors in between to dry. I like the look of a lot of bleeding on my watercolor paints. I just really think they're charming when they bleed like that. And that's probably why I use the pen after, because I want to clarify some of the lines and edges that I've painted, because they bleed so much. But that's just my style. That's what I like. It's what I'm drawn to. But you'll paint your watercolor your style. Just have fun experimenting with watercolors and try different paints, try different papers. You will find something that you really like. Okay, so now I'm going to go into this kind of browny gray, maybe a little bit more gray. So generally speaking, you want to start light with watercolor, light colors, and then move to dark. I don't know if I'm a little impatient because I've already painted a painting for this video. So maybe I'm like, okay, let's get her done. But I also do move fast when I watercolor. I'm not a patient person, which is probably why acrylics are my usual go-to paints. Even when I watercolor, I find myself using them like acrylics sometimes, and I have to remind myself, hey, these are watercolor paints. Take it easy. I'm just going to put a little character in the building here. Like it's weathered a bit. I don't want to go too dark because they are white, these buildings. But I do want to put a little age in it. I feel like my blue here is a bit messy. I didn't like the blue there, so I changed it. Just be careful, you want things dry. So I put just a little bit more shading under here. I stay out of that spot for a second because that blue is still wet. I forgot to shade under here, so let's go back and do that. Make sure your red is dry. Take a little bit of that off. Got a little dirty. Remember, watercolor paint will dry lighter than when it's wet. And like I said, I like to put my details back in with a pen. But if you prefer it all just to be watercolor, take your time and put your details in. But you know, if you follow my videos, I am a sketcher. I do like to sketch. So here I'm using a bit of a dry brush over top because I want it to look a little bit rough. Maybe add some of this color into the stone as well. Make it all cohesive. Can add a little bit of this color into the sky. Let's try that. Just try it, why not? See what these paints are capable of. So maybe a bit of a rough cloud coming in here. Just let it pool and do its own thing. Add some over on this side. Okay, so I think that red is dry. Go into a smaller brush here and use this dark color. Now, of course, I could use a pen for this, which is probably a good idea considering how much I'm shaking. But I want to use the watercolor. Just put the railing back in. Again, only so much detail here. I don't want to spend too long on the video. Go into some darker windows. hear the puppy? She's just underneath having a nap. That's why I thought, oh, I'll get the video done. And then I filmed it in slow motion. Awesome. Okay, and then just a little subtle indication of the light in the background here, the actual light in the lighthouse. And of course I need to add the sky in there. Just a little bit of sky. Spots that I might have missed. I'll move fast on that because I don't want it to dry like that. Careful, that red's starting to bleed a bit. All right, there we go. I think the rest I might do with pen. Just a little bit more saturation of color in these rocks back here. Just because, again, I really like the look of the pen. Every watercolor painting I do has that pen in it. Define the rock in the water here. Some shadows in the stones. Really fun with the dry brush technique on that. Just really dry rub. Save a dry brush. Change the look of this landscape a little bit. I don't want to go too dark, so I do want to put that pen in. Put a little birdies in the sky, because you know you're at the ocean when you see and hear seagulls. Just something simple. Okay, I'm going to use a pen. This is a pigment liner, 0.5, and it's water-based, so it will bleed if it hits water. So if you want a marker that doesn't bleed or a pen that doesn't bleed, I would go with the, what are they called? The micro, that's not it. What's it called? Oh, the Staedtler does it. If you're looking for brands that don't bleed, I can't find it. The name of these ones. Micron, that's it. So the Micron series, they are archival and waterproof. So they're great for going over with pen. And then again, if you think, oh, you know what, I need to add a little bit more watercolor pigment to my work, then they won't bleed, which is really nice. So see how I just love the contrast of these delicate watercolors against black ink. Just really makes me happy. And I can really play and have some fun making it whimsical. I can make it realistic. I can make it gritty. I can really have fun popping these details. This pretty old water of this pretty, oh my gosh, why can't I say words today? Lighthouse. Oh, feels like a Monday. I really like these Paul Rubens paints. I'll be using these again. I will again link the information of the paints below. It's just a review. There's no commission or anything. Just wanted to jump on and try them. I'm always up for trying watercolor paints. A little bit of detail here in the lighthouse. pretty? So you can go outside the box here with your pen and really have some fun. I mean, you can outline the clouds a little bit if you want. You can turn it into any kind of style you want to, but really play with these watercolor bleeds here. That can be fun. Put some texture in the water. Of course, you can do this with paint too. Don't think you have to do this with marker. This is just the style of painting I like to do. I find the contrast of that black pen really pops the delicateness and softness of watercolor. So there you go. I hope you guys like this video. I hope it's not slow motion. I hope you give watercolor paints a try. So there you go, guys. There's the product review of the Paul Rubens paint. Let me just show you the paint again. All right, I will link the information about this product below. All right, have a great day. Bye.